All right. Hello, everyone. I am Lisa Twilley. I'm the director of the Women's Business Center here at Maryland Capital Enterprises. If you're not familiar with Maryland Capital Enterprises, also known as MCE, we're a nonprofit based in Salisbury. We also have an office in Baltimore. We assist entrepreneurs with business consulting, marketing consulting, one-on-one mentoring, free training workshops such as this. We also do small business loans, and we cover the entire Eastern Shore of Maryland, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County. We also house a women's business center who provides the same exact services, but we focus on the women, and we do a couple events a year that are just geared towards women, like we do an annual women's business conference that we just held in March at the Civic Center, and we have all women vendors, women speakers. It's a great time. If you didn't get to come, hopefully you can come next year for Women's History Month. So I'm going to put my information in the chat, and that way if you guys need any of our services, please reach out. But we're super excited to be here and doing this in partnership with the Dave and Patsy Rommel Center for Entrepreneurship, which is based out of Salisbury University, and is actually located downtown Salisbury on the plaza. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with them. If you haven't been there to visit, you got to check it out. It's pretty cool. They have an incubator space where entrepreneurs can actually house their products or offer their services. You can actually have a 3D printer and all kinds of things they can actually do right there. So you have to check it out if you haven't yet. So be sure to either visit them in person or visit their website. And tonight we're excited that we have Samantha and Jen here from D3 Corp. I'm going to let them tell you a little bit more about themselves and D3 and get started.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Samantha. I'm our digital marketing manager here at D3. I've been with D3 for about 5 years, working with the social team on organic social, which is what we're going to be talking about today, as well as our digital ads team with Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, and the like. And then Jen's with me today, so I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Jen. I've been with D3 for about 2.5 years now. I primarily work with Samantha on the social media digital ads aspect of all things marketing there at D3. So we'll get into it.
So I guess we're just going to start off from the top. What is social media marketing? And it's kind of a loaded question, to be honest, as I'm sure you all know, just because there's so many different aspects of social, different platforms to use, different ways that businesses use it, different kind of goals and ideas behind why you do what you do on social. But social is a really powerful tool for all businesses to use. I have just a few notes on the slide deck here to increase brand awareness. So to get the word out to people about your brand or your product or your service, a promotion that you have. To build engaged communities is another really great way to use social because you really get to have more personal time with your audience. Whether that's through comments or messages and interacting with them to kind of help measure your brand sentiment and then either make adjustments or get ideas and inspo from your own audience, of course, to advertise and sell your products and services like we spoke about. And then again, that measuring brand sentiment. So I actually have an example that I wanted to bring up as far as why it's important to be on social and be active on social. I was actually speaking with a client today and we run Facebook ads for them, but they're not active on their social feed. And just a little bit of background is that they're in the business. They don't really want to be in the business anymore. They inherited this kind of sector of their brand and they're within the year, they're ready to be done with it and sell it off. So they're like, we need to liquidate all of this product, but we're not already on social. We have a page, we post every now and then. Is it worth investing our time into doing this? And my answer was, of course, yes, it is. And not because I think that you should spend a ton of money because of course, you're trying to get out of this part of the business, so you don't want to invest a lot into it when you're trying to liquidate products as it is. But also, you need to liquidate the products, and people are going to social first when they're looking at stores and restaurants and hotels just to see, what it actually looks like, to see what other people are saying about the businesses. So, in that example, my recommendation was have someone that can do it in-house to handle it, but absolutely 100%, you should be posting on your social feeds. To stay, on top of your audience. And you don't just always reach only your audience. I'm sure that we've all seen when we're scrolling through Facebook, it's like suggested for you, and the algorithms kind of working in their sneaky ways to get brand content in front of the right people. That's another, kind of not problem, but question that comes up a lot. It's like, how we only have so many followers. How do we get in front of more people? And that's something that we're going to dive into a little bit more when we get into goals and strategy. But that's just a wide overview of what is social and an example of why you should be using it.
So, some of the strategies that we recommend is really going to be depending on the industry that you're in. We can't obviously carry the same thing across every industry. It's going to take a little personalization, a little individualization there when determining these things. So, your goals are going to want to align with your business's larger digital marketing strategy. There's the marketing funnel where everything flows through. So, our primary goal when posting is to either get leads back to your website, or we're going to want to get clicks onto a certain link that's within that post. So these are some of the examples of like different goals that you would have when posting. And then roles, you're going to want to define like roles and responsibilities within your team of who's creating these contents and these strategies when posting. So one post is going to have a certain goal of getting link clicks, and the next one might just be an evergreen post of this is what our business does, we just want you to be sure, and the next one might be a review. So you're going to have different types of content against or on all of your things. And then you're going to want to outline your reporting. So this would go along with tactics and metrics. We take our reporting monthly. We usually track it monthly. Some of it's weekly, depending on the client or the industry that we're reporting on. There's data for everything across social media. There might not necessarily be an ROI on your social media posting, but the main thing to remember is when posting, this is more for brand awareness. This is your brand being personal with your users and being personal on all different platforms, whether it's Facebook, Google, Instagram. But there's different goals and strategies that we'll go through and just keep going.
Yeah. So one goal that and I know Jen feels the same way, that when we hear this, we're like, but what does it actually mean to you? Is I want to go viral. My goal on social is to create a piece of content that is so good that we go viral. And when I hear that, I think what the client or the person is trying to say is we really want to get our audience to know who we are. We want to get out there to the broader spectrum of people. We want to reach more people. We don't necessarily want to go viral in the sense that, we have a funny video and it has 2 million views. We want to get ourselves out there. And there's different tactics for that. Organic social media does play really well with social ads. We won't get into the ads part too much today, but the platforms are very pay to play. They favor content creators that are running ads. So that's just something to consider in the back of your mind if you're kind of struggling with getting a higher reach or a larger audience, is that a small ad campaign could be beneficial, or maybe you just have a better idea of where to really track yourself instead of tracking yourself against those users that are running ads. But yeah, what Jen said is your goal should align with your larger business strategy. So are you trying to gain more customers? Are you trying to reach a certain level in your sales? Are you trying to increase your leads, or are you a ride share with ridership that you want to increase? another example is that we work with Jolly Roger amusement parks out in Ocean City, and some of you might know that they run really big promos throughout the years, but they're only for specific times. So they have a Black Friday promotion and an Easter sale, and during those times, they're really focused on, of course, selling their passes and increasing sales. The more challenging part of that is that these are times of the year where their parks aren't open, it's cold outside, no one's really thinking about summer yet, in the sense that they're buying passes, um, but we're still trying to pump those numbers up. So one thing that we do to reach that goal is to, ads aside, is to post more on social. We don't want to inundate our audience, but to post more engaging content, asking people to like, share, comment, because the more your content is engaged with, the more that it kind of gets boosted up in the algorithm as well. Diving into those goals a little bit more, these are just some examples, like we discussed: driving traffic sales, building brand awareness, engaging with the specific audience. Sometimes for new products, you want to know what your audience has to say so you can either make adjustments in whether it be the product itself or how you're servicing your customers. So being able to engage with your audience on social and get that user feedback can be very, very, very valuable. Um, Providing customer support again is very important. I think I touched on earlier that when you engage more on social, your posts are more likely to be seen. So something that we really encourage our clients to do is just engage with their audience to make sure that they are commenting back and sending the messages back, and going through their feed and liking other people's comments and other businesses commenting on their post. Another way to do this also is employee advocacy. So there's different ways to approach that as a business, but one of the simplest ways that I've heard of is to offer your employees some sort of like gift or callback if they are engaging with your feed a lot, and if they're posting, tagging your brand in their posts so their audience is seeing that as well. So I know some businesses, they give out gift cards for their top contributors for the month, or maybe it's like, you know pizza day or what have you. But connecting with your customers and engaging on socials, if you are posting, you should be engaging. It's one of the most important parts of this, that a lot of people, they just either you don't have time for it or you kind of forget to do it. Um, Brand customer support we touched on, and then also managing brand reputation is super important. So as you all know, I'm sure you can't always delete those reviews. You can mark them as spam maybe, but when you get a review, it's usually on there to stay. So managing your brand reputation by commenting back and taking the conversation offline, whether it's positive or negative, because as we all know, someone can snip a little bit of that conversation and kind of twist the narrative if they so choose to. Um, so that's something that I kind of wanted to throw in there as well. Taking, if you do get a review or a comment that's maybe not so nice, trying to take the conversation offline, and handle it within a phone.
So Samantha, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you mean take it offline, like talk to them, but you really, if it's like a review, you can't
Mhm.
take that off, correct?
Right. Yeah, we can't take that offline.
But if it's a
If it
comment, I don't know if you can. If it's
You
like a
can
comment
hide
on
and
Facebook.
delete comments. It's
Okay.
not always recommended just because a user can see if a comment was hidden and delete it. So it's kind of like if they didn't see it before, whenever I see a comment hidden or deleted, I'm like, what were they actually trying to hide here? Like, how bad was it?
Yeah.
Um, so we recommend, if you do get a negative review or a negative comment, being really sympathetic, and you don't have to necessarily apologize, but kind of apologizing that they had that experience at least, and
Right.
asking them to either direct message you with their phone number, or offering that they call the business and ask to speak to such and such. So you can get them on the phone. And I think kind of as we know, living in this digital world, is things can get so misconstrued over messaging and over text that, and again, back to my point earlier, they can just snip a little part of that conversation and use it really your own words against your brand and, take it outcome.
Yeah. Okay.
So, doing your homework is going to be probably the biggest part of digital marketing and social media. There are so many different channels and wavelengths that you have to be aware of when posting, when replying. As Sam mentioned, there are going to be people who snip back or who comment, and you're going to have to figure out how you want to control that situation. So, first of all, you'll want to determine what platforms you want to use as a social media platform. So, as we mentioned, there's multiple. There's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. There's all of these different channels. There's LinkedIn, which has grown more popular in the more corporate and personal individual industries. And then Facebook and Instagram seem to be the top competitors. They are one meta platform, but those are the most heard of. And then more recently coming to the table would be TikTok. It all depends on what type of content that you want to put out there. If you're looking for more in depth, you want to show more professional side of your business, that's going to lean towards more LinkedIn. But if you want to be that laid back brand, that more personal brand that people can talk to and feel like it's a one on one conversation, that might lean more towards Instagram. So that's just something that you're going to have to look at, pull your team together, and figure out which road you'd like to go down. And then once you check off that box, you're going to have to determine what type of content that you'd like to put out there. So from this, you're going to have to dedicate some time and maybe even some money if you want to do those digital ads or some of those boosting posts. But that's another another PowerPoint for another day. And then with each platform, you're going to want to realize that it has its own audience. So different audiences, different age groups, demographics are going to be on these different platforms. So the younger groups might be on that Instagram and TikTok level, whereas those older groups who may be on that more corporate level are going to be using a Facebook, a LinkedIn, or a Pinterest type of thing. But you're going to have to, be realistic, kind of come down to those nitty gritty facts of, your business best, your audience best. So you're going to know which platform to use when it comes to that decision making. And then it's better to excel on 1 to 2 platforms than to have representation across all platforms. So we see this a lot across just general questions that come in of, should we have a TikTok? Should we do Snapchat? Should we do this? And our response is always, we do this best. Once we have our heads wrapped around this part, then yes, maybe we do branch out and maybe we do try an Instagram channel and an Instagram stories. And then from there, you branch into Instagram Reels. And then from there, okay, Reels are performing very well. Let's try TikTok. And you start building from there. But you're going to want to have your set in stone thing be that one primary platform that you excel at.
Yeah.
And then obviously you'll have to look at your competition. So, where are your competitors at? Where are they posting the most? Where are they getting the best engagement, the best audience replies, and all of that?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to join every platform just to check off a box, especially when, you're a one man or woman shop and you are trying to do it all as either a business owner or, the sole marketing person at your company or what have you, maybe you have a small team. What happens is, I think, and this happens at an agency level too sometimes, and we kind of have to bring ourselves down because we love all of these ideas and we would love to do all of these platforms amazing. But, we either the client doesn't have the budget or there's, not enough wiggle room or the content doesn't really fit. So, like Jen said, you know your audience best, and it's best to do one or two things really well, whether that's, LinkedIn or TikTok or Instagram, then spread yourself too thin trying to juggle all of these different social media platforms, and not really dedicating the time to each one. And then just another note on the competition side, looking at your competition isn't always a bad thing. I mean, you don't want to copy exactly what they're doing, but kind of getting inspiration to see what's working well for them. We're not going to copy and paste it over, but we can see, if we're all selling hairbrushes and this company's, um, making videos and they're doing reels and TikToks for their hairbrushes, but I've only been posting my hairbrushes on Facebook. Maybe I want to try a little bit more video content and see if that helps boost my engagement or boost my sales a little bit. So, watching to see what your competition is doing can be a really, really beneficial kind of benchmark and see what they're not doing well. Learn from someone else's mistakes before you make your own. If they, post something that's a little crazy or try to run even a promo and the sentiment on the post and the comments are just negative, then maybe you can kind of learn from that and either do it better yourself or know that that might not work for your specific industry. Um,
So I have
and
another
then,
question.
yeah, I love it.
I figure I'll ask you now because if I wait till
Yeah,
the end, I forget.
yeah.
So, so do people really still use Snapchat for, depending on, I know it depends on the audience, like if you're gearing something towards a younger crowd, say, I don't know, trampoline park or something like that.
Right.
Do people still use Snapchat for
Yeah,
that?
actually, we see
Okay.
a lot more Snapchat ads than Snapchat accounts. So Snapchat ads, from my experience, are more based on a geographic location or a demographic age. So I'm in like mid 20s. I get a lot of credit card ads. They know that I'm probably maxing out a couple of mine and I need more. And then when I am in like bigger cities, I'm getting ads for, trampoline parks or maybe a big park or there's a marathon nearby and just things like that. Not necessarily accounts, but more on the ad side. They are still pretty relevant.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. It's really interesting the type of content that you get served on the different platforms. Like if I'm on TikTok scrolling, I get like, maybe like I've been getting ads for like a headband that makes your hair look like, I don't know if anyone else seen this, but like with the sunglasses pulled back and the headband apparently gives the same effect. But
Right.
then I have a son, so when I'm on Facebook, I get ads for sports equipment and new Hot Wheels, whatever. So it's really funny how the different platforms kind of know how
Yeah,
you're using it
that
and
is so
they learn
true.
you. Yeah.
Because like I'm on Snapchat, but that's because before when my kids were younger, that's how I got on Snapchat. And then, and I tell clients that are in a younger or gearing their stuff towards a younger audience, but I don't really get ads on Snapchat, but that's probably because I'm just on there for my one purpose to message a few people, you know what I mean? So I'm not
Yeah.
seeing those ads pop up. But like on Facebook, I see ads all the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
the platforms they're eerily smart. And we don't always know all the secret sauce that goes into why they're sending you what they're sending you and why something's popping up. But um, we do know it's because your profile's open. So if you're clicking into a certain ad or a certain piece of content, you're probably interested in it.
yeah, it's
And so
kind
you'll
of
get more of
weird
that.
because when you're talking about something at home, and then next thing you know, you pick up your phone and there's an ad popping up about it, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this thing really listened to me all the time.
I know. I
That's
know.
freaky.
I go to like family functions and they're like, I know you're the one doing that. And I'm like, I'm not. I promise. I don't know that much. We know how to place the ads, but I don't know how it's listening to you. Yeah, it's funny. And
Okay.
but okay, so getting into tracking performance and making adjustments. Reporting is sometimes it's just really boring, and that's the truth. No one wants to read through a bunch of numbers, and you don't really know exactly what it means and how really important is it. But it is important when you are valuing or when you want to make sure that you are putting the most value into the content that you're creating and valuing your time. For example, there is a restaurant we do social for. They're based in Bethany Beach. They have a small social following, a semi-small social following, and you would think that their users want to see food and drink specials and pretty pictures of their their new dish or what have you. But people love seeing Bethany Beach and the sunset and all the pretty things around Bethany, and that's the content that performs the best for them. So as a team, we really had to take a step back because we were like, okay, well, this content performs best, but this is a restaurant and they want to sell food and promote their specials. So while the beach pictures are performing really well, we definitely want to keep them in the queue. So we have a higher audience reach and people are sharing our posts, and maybe more people will like the page because they're seeing this content. But we also want to make sure that the food pictures are being published as well because, like I said, it's a restaurant. And there's things that you can learn from that as well. Not only that you want to continue to mix in the content that's performing well, but for a restaurant that's by the beach, it's a no-brainer to have a photo shoot at the beach and bring some dishes out and promote, maybe a carryout menu or um, have a good day at the beach and then stop by this restaurant, that sort of thing. So it'll help you work smarter instead of working harder when creating your content. Um, just a few quick um, KPIs to go through, key performance indicators to go through, because you see these numbers when you look into Facebook or Instagram, and it can get kind of confusing. So when you see the word reach, that is the number of unique users that your account or your um, post is reaching. Um, those users do not duplicate. That's just the number of unique users. Impressions is the number of times that the content is being seen across those users. So if you have 10 unique users and you have 20 impressions, you can probably infer that each user saw that piece of content about 2 times, but one person might have seen it 3 times and the other person might have seen it 1 time. So you don't always fully know that. Your follower count is, of course, the number of people that are following your page. Facebook has, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but Facebook has switched things up recently. And there's followers and likes, and they've been separate for a while, but now they're combining them. So we'll see that change, probably take over most, if not all, accounts over the next couple of months. It'll just be one number. Um, and then when you click into a post, sometimes you will see your website traffic if it has a link on it. So you'll see how many people then clicked through from your post, click that link, and land on your website. That data is better served in ads just because you have more tracking capabilities, but you'll see that on your posts as well. Likes, comments, shares, I'm sure everyone knows what they are, liking a piece of content, sharing it to your own page, commenting on it. Those are all really, really good indicators on how your content is performing as well. Shares are like the secret, I don't even know what you want to call it, but almost everyone can like a post, but only few people will share a post. So when you get a share, that's like top tier engagement, in my opinion, because people think that it's important enough that they're willing to share it to their own profile. So when you're looking at this data, what do you do with that? You see what posts are performing well, and you make adjustments. Sometimes something just flops, and unfortunately, a lot of times it's the piece of content that you spent the most time on, or the idea that's been in your head the longest, and that's just how it seems to work out sometimes. But then and you learn from it, and you make adjustments from there. Do we have any questions?
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone. Quick
Hi.
question for hi. Quick question for Samantha. Where would I find on Instagram? It says your top location, city, and followers. Where would I find
Okay.
that there?
So that's going to be if you have a business account or a professional account under your settings.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And a lot of times it's kind of what you expect, but then you'll see those random cities, across wherever, and like, it'll be something crazy. So I would focus on the top three as your main ones, because it takes into account, spams and bot users as well. Any other questions?
Now, this is good stuff as a good reminder, making the distinction between reach, impressions, and
Mhm.
shares. I think it's very important because sometimes I will pick up a few, few new followers and I get pretty excited.
Yeah.
But the main thing is when I see shares, because that
Hmm.
means that my content is, as it says, is being shared on the other person's um platform
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
page or whatever.
100%. And that's like what I would call a gold star post, because
Okay.
someone cares so much about that content that you put out, or they think that it's beautiful or it's important, and they want to share it so their followers see it. Social is so personal, and that's something that I think we started with knowing when social kind of first came out, and we forgot it along the way just because it's so inundated with brands and spam users and what have you. And people just get, sometimes unfortunately they get kind of vicious on social. So we forget how personal it is, but it is so personal to not only brands but users as well. So when they're sharing your content, sharing it onto their page, it just really speaks to me that they cared about it and that it was, something good. So posts like that, it might have not as many likes, but I would keep that kind of in your back pocket to do something similar the next time, because it worked. And this kind of I think that I believe there's another presentation with NCE over the next 2 or 3 weeks, that goes into more of the content creation side, which is my favorite part of it. I mean, tracking performance and knowing where to go is super important. That's where you want to start, and that's your baseline. But after you have those internal discussions with your team, um, after you look at the data, then you can get into creating the content that is really fun and beautiful. And that's my favorite part personally.
Yeah, definitely. And to go along with reporting, if you're seeing either a decrease or just like a steady line of metrics and data pulling in, this is where you could start to maybe analyze and bring in some of that employee advocacy and start getting them to engage. Because on Facebook, I'm sure everyone's noticed, if say I like a post, but I'm friends with Sam on Facebook, it'll say Genevieve likes this, you may be interested in this. Or if I share it, then I'm sharing it to not only all of the people who follow maybe MCE on Facebook, but now all of my followers are seeing it. So that's where that engagement and that spread starts to happen. So if you're seeing some data and you're like, okay, it's good, but it could be better, that's when you start asking your team or maybe some friends, hey, could you share this post, or do you mind like commenting and
Mhm.
just getting the conversation started?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels a little silly the first couple times you do it. Ben and we talk back and forth between our brand accounts and our personal accounts on social all the time. And it does feel silly, but the more engagement that your posts have and the more that Facebook is reading that you're actually responding to users, the more that it bumps your posts up in their algorithm. So they'll be seen more, because people don't see posts necessarily on a timeline order anymore. They see, you can scroll through your feed and you see a post that was posted 5 minutes ago, and then a post that was posted 5 days ago. And those are probably two accounts that you are most engaged with when you first log in. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is a lot of people ask how often they should be posting. And again, this really just depends on your manpower, but I would say on average, 2 to 3 times a week is a good benchmark. One time a week seems to be a little bit not enough, but you also don't want to be posting every single day and someone be inundated, or you burn yourself out really with content, especially if you are doing a solo or doing it with a small. So 2 to 3 times a week seems to be good, and post when is relevant. If you only have one post to go out one week, it really is okay. It's not going to make or break anything. Um, Another thing to consider, and we'll get into this in our next presentation too, is creating those content pillars and kind of having a list of things that you definitely want to post every month, whether it be a recently completed job or a new product or a promotion or an employee spotlight. They seem to always perform really well. Just something that on these days or during this month at some time, you want to make sure that these, 5, 6, 7 pieces of content out, and that is a goal for yourself to keep your socials relevant. And,
Consistency is definitely important, because I know for me, like you mentioned about having a kind of like a monthly schedule.
mhm.
Folks have, over the years, for me, they look forward to certain things on certain days.
Yeah.
And so I have those scheduled and pushed out by using, like maybe Buffer or later.
Mhm.
And pre-schedule like 2 weeks in advance, obviously changing up some of the content, but certain things, my readers, or followers, I should say, expect certain things on a Monday, expect certain things on a Friday. And typically the weekends I'm off. I just, every now and then I'll probably post something on a Sunday, but it's primarily Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
with specific content in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's perfect. From agency level, we create calendars for our clients the month beforehand, just so it's scheduled and can be approved. But I would suggest, like you were saying, having specific content and being able to pre-schedule it out. I think you can even pre-schedule it out within Facebook itself too. If you don't have a tool such as Later or Buffer or Sprout Social to use to schedule out your content, but your users definitely do look forward to different kinds of content if they know they'll expect it from you, so and it's nice too that you don't have to worry about it. We don't have weeks that go kind of sideways and haywire, and we know that we already have our content scheduled out, and things happen, and world events happen, and that's when we want to be diligent and cognizant and respectful of what's going on um, in the world and make adjustments if needed. But if you know that something's going out, then you have that schedule and you don't have to stress about it.
Jen and Samantha, I have questions, Janelle.
Hi.
Do you suggest that you post at a specific time every week?
Well, it used to matter a little bit more than it matters now, to be honest with you. But I see a sweet spot being between like 1 and 5 o'clock, and then between like 7 and 9 o'clock. Feel like between 1 and 5 is when people that are working like a 9 to 5 job, they're kind of getting their like midday sleepies and they're checking their phones, or they're kind of log on to Facebook for the quick 5 minutes or what have you. And then after dinner, people are kind of getting into their relaxing and um, getting online and that sort of thing. Another good time to post would be early morning, just for those people that wake up and check their phones. I'm definitely guilty of that, scrolling through Facebook before I get out of bed in the morning. Although I hate to admit it. But yeah, I would say definitely between 1 and 5 and um, 7 and 9. You're welcome. Any other questions? If you think of any after the presentation, I don't have my email address, but you can always email into Samantha@d3corp.com or clientservices@d3corp.com and add attention Samantha or Jen, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have after the presentation. I know sometimes when I'm listening into webinars or presentations, I kind of over a moment, or I can't think of my question until it's already over. So don't hesitate. Pops up.
I think I just have one comment, if
Yeah.
you don't mind.
Yeah.
Someone approached me the other day to collaborate on, you know, if I like her post or she'll like mine, and then push it through. And I said, okay, no problem. But I just wanted to set like the expectations, you know, and she said, so I asked, when do you typically post? She says Mondays and Fridays, and sporadically, you know, every now and then. And I've found that my engagement, because I would post on her, she would comment, she would share, and I would do the same for her across Facebook and primarily Instagram. And I've definitely seen an uptick in
Yeah.
new followers. So I thought that was a very good collaboration, that she even trusted to work with me. So that was a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really great. That's kind of almost like not quite using an influencer, but kind of towing the line of it in a way. And just having that people see, it's like you said, the trust factor is there, and it's a mutual respect for each other. So if I follow someone and I like their content, obviously I'm following them, and they collaborate, share someone else's work, tag them in a post, I'm definitely clicking on their profile and checking it out because I like their content and I trust them as a creator or a business. I want to see who they value enough to share with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody have any more questions? Now's the time to ask the expert.
So you say that we'll have more of this, because I actually slowed down this evening. I'm like, I'm definitely going to attend this evening. So I will keep my eyes peeled for, like you said, upcoming weeks or something like that. Some more.
On May 7th, we have another workshop with D3, with the ladies from D3, and it is, it's about crafting your content. Let me see the name of it exactly.
Okay.
It is social media content creation and curation, and it's May 7th, same time, 6 to 7. We have a lot of other workshops coming up too that aren't necessarily social media. They're more about like what lenders are looking for when you're looking for funding, cash flows and financial statements. We have one coming up on that. SBA programs and services and funding options with MCE. So we have lots on our website, on the marylandcapital.org website or the Women's Business Center website.
Awesome. I'll definitely try to make the May 7th. I have another meeting that day, but I could probably do 30 minutes in. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we hope to see you.
Thank
And if
you.
there's not to just praise D3, but they've done both of our websites, and they help us with our different content and doing these workshops, and we love them. So thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies, for being here tonight. We appreciate you, and also Jenny Patchasak, who works there at D3. She does a lot of our classes too. So we're looking forward to doing more with you guys, and hopefully you all can join us again soon.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
joining.
you.
All right.
All
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.